So what is the state of Nigerian workers on the 1st of May 2016? Let's get the conversation now started. Bismarck, Rewane, economist and chief executive officer at Financial Derivatives Company. Good morning. Thanks for coming.
Good morning, boss.
We appreciate your time. Just before we get the conversation started, this was what you put together. I want to put that through on our TV screen now. What is the state of the Nigerian workers on the 1st of May? Look at the prices of some of these local commodities and how they've been trading across 3 major cities in Nigeria. Then we'll give you a bit of what the inflation rate has been, what the good news and not so good news is all about. Now, let's start with what you're looking at there. Look at the price of cement and all the way down. If you look at the price of one of the edibles, which is beans, 27,000 naira per 100 kg. Rice around 13,000. Those are in double digit. Maize at 8,200, and we're using Lagos, where we are as the base state. Palm oil, 30 liters, 9,600. Semovita, 1,800. Pasta, 2,600 per 10 kg. And, of course, you have cassava, which you called gari in local language here, 15,000 naira per 100 kg. Now, look at inflation. What have inflation has done? Inflation reading over the last a couple of months, and that was plotted from November 2015, 9.4%. If you see a bit of a lower trending towards the beginning of the year, now things started heading north. Now we're around 12.8 at the end of March. Forecast for April is around 13.2%. So that gives you an idea of how inflation is eating into the prices of those commodities you saw earlier. But what are the May 2019 promises? That was President Goodluck Jonathan's administration before he left, as at the time he left office. Now, increased infrastructure, low unemployment, naira stability, greater security, improved governance and transparency. These promises were made in 2015 at the handing over. Economic diversification, a social safety net, 5,000 naira to the poor and the unemployed, lunch for school children, 1 per day, as well as investment in human capital. We have a lot to talk about. We get to the good news and not so good news, as well as Nigeria's unpopular misery index. Mr. Rewane, talk us through this. The key question, let's start from this. Give us the identity of the Nigerian workers. When we say, and the labels then says the Nigerian worker, are we talking about civil servants? Are we talking about the roadside mechanic?
All of them.
All of us.
Artisans, workers, gainfully employed, formally employed, informally employed, and the unemployed. Everybody has a stake, right? So even if you're unemployed, you hope to get employment. Now, let's go back to the prices. Cassava gari was 10,000 last year. It's now 15,000 this year for a 100 kg bag. Maize was 5,000 last year. It's 8,200. Rice was 8,000 last year. It's 13,000 naira. Cement is flat at 1,700. Palm oil went from 6,000 to 9,600. That's almost 50%. Beans, that is the Olotu beans, went from 15,000 to 27,000 per bag. And Semovita has gone from 1,500 to 1,800. And pasta has gone from 1,600 to 2,600. This is at a time where 27 states cannot pay salaries. So even if you got the salaries, you got an increase, you don't get the cash. And so what happens to the disposable income? So you come back and say, okay, what were the promises? What were the intention? What were the policies? And finally, what was the outcome? On the 1st of May 2016, what is the state of the Nigerian workers? The Nigerian worker has serious problems. First of all, his salary is inconsistent. Secondly, his productivity growth rate has gone by -0.4, while GDP has grown by 2.1%. What it means is that the Nigerian worker has become more unproductive, not necessarily because of his work ethic, but because there's no power. He's spending hours at the petrol station trying to get transport. He's queuing up for everything. His employer is queuing up for foreign exchange. And so the economy is constricted. That is, if you want to take blood from a patient and you tie up the veins, you see the blood doesn't move. So, and that is constriction. So the economy is constricted, and therefore we need to loosen up the bottlenecks and deregulate the market so that activity will increase. What you're suffering from now is a lack of economic activity. A reduction in economic activity which is making the economy anemic.
The last time and the first time the president met with the Nigerian Labour Congress was just before the elections. So if we go back to that and fast track it again 1 year after, 1 year on, give us your sense of what you think this administration has tried to do or say and do for the Nigerian worker.
Well, first and foremost, the intentions, like they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. The promises, I have no doubt in my mind that the promises that were made by, and the president didn't make that many promises. The party made promises in his manifesto. The promises of the president was based on the transition report which he got. And they were not that much. He promised to combat insecurity. He promised to fight corruption. He promised to restore Nigerian economy to its place of pride. Now, what has happened? So there are the promises, which were not that many. There were the intentions, which were noble. But again, I said the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Now, the policies have been static and rigid, while in fact they should be flexible because times have changed. And the outcome has been not so rosy. So what do you need to do? You need to now go back to those policies where there was rigidity and make them flexible. Because the markets do not forgive anybody. The markets treat you the way they are. So what has happened? The prices of goods have increased, so you're facing inflation. The revenues have declined because there's lack of economic activity. There's been no new investment. So what we are looking for, government spending as well has been slow because there's been no budget, nothing announced. So slow government spending, right? Sterilization of stolen monies, no new investment. And so to a large extent, the economy, like I said, constricted. What are you going to see? The budget will be signed in a few days. The government spending will start. But we need to go back. We need to go back to those policies. We need to incentivize investors. So, and I state categorically that you must incentivize, you must put those pioneer status. You cannot, at this time, remove pioneer status. You got to increase incentives so that investors can bring their money in. When I say investors, I'm talking about Nigerian, international, and retail investors investing in the market so that we can have economic activity.
Okay, we'll take a break. When we come back, we want you to take us just 1 minute through the good news and not so good news.
Absolutely.
Now, when we put this together, we will now ask the natural question, what's the future of the Nigerian worker? Bismarck Rewane, economist and chief executive officer at Financial Derivatives.